Welcome back to Animal Crossing New Horizons. I'm dear darling. Shall we see what's going on that lovely island of Fawnhallow today? Sorry, my hairbrush fell off my desk. Because for some reason it ended up balanced on my phone. I actually don't know how that happened. But I mean, presumably I put my phone on top of a hairbrush at some point. But anywho, nonetheless, we're vibing out, we're relaxing, we're having a good time. My voice is basically recovered, I would say. Like, I don't really have much of a remnant of. Sorry, I'm like moving so much, you probably can't even hear me. Good evening, everyone. Right now in Fawnhallow, it's 10:49 on Friday, September 6th, 2024. I only have like the remnants of like a headache, nothing like particularly crazy, which is, you know, good if anything. I sometimes have a runny nose here and there, and I sometimes still kind of have like a sore throat, so I still take a cough sweet here and there, but it's okay, which is nice. It didn't last particularly long, if anything. I suppose that's the COVID vaccine doing its work. So salutations, salutes to, well, I guess salutations is technically correct, it just sounds wrong, doesn't it? Salutes to that. Salutes to modern medicine. But yeah, so I basically just had like one pretty bad day, and then like the other days were just like fine, just like kind of my throat was like bleh. And you can hear it in some of the videos, and I didn't record too many. When I had a super sore throat, because I, you know, definitely didn't want to in the first place. I recorded basically exactly what I needed. So I guess the last one will be maybe a cameo episode going up tomorrow. But yeah, otherwise we're sort of chilling. Relaxing, all good. Shooting some b-ball outside school. Sorry, gotta stop saying that. What can we talk about? Well, we can talk about more holiday stuff, of course. That's not going anywhere. I was just trying to think what else there was to bring up. I think the other thing that I think to bring up was like our Genshin Impact. I've done a new Archon quest. It's kind of cool. It seems like a lot of setup, if anything, for whatever may be coming in the future. But I'm eagerly anticipating it. Xana Zone 0 did pull Jane Doe, got her Wenjin as well, got actually pretty lucky, all things considered. 150-50 and I got her Wenjin early. And finally I managed to fully clear Shi defense, all on S rank, so we love that. But yeah, what else? Nothing else I can really think of, to be honest. So I guess we'll just talk about holiday stuff, where at this point, what do? We just basically... We travelled there to like different places and areas, and then the next place we travelled to was, well, I'm trying to think what the next thing we did. Like, we just talked about the estate. Oh yeah, we went to go. Well, we had a walk about the place, but that's kind of like wrapped up into it, to be honest. But we went to, I don't even know what the bridge is, to be perfectly honest. That's how little I really knew about it. But it's a bridge which is apparently a train line, so the train bridge, which is in Harry Potter. I can't remember which, maybe like second movie, right? Chamber of Secrets, where they're like, you know, it's the train to Hogwarts, and you know they're like riding a car trying to get on or whatever. We went to see that bridge. It was kind of cool, you know. It was cool to see this like traditional steam train like drive past on honestly quite a scenic looking bridge, mind you. Obviously Harry Potter, well, not so much Harry Potter, I suppose, the author of Harry Potter, the creators, certainly not got the best reputation now for good reason, but I'm not going to try and like go against that. It's, you know, I'm not going to try and go against that or defend her or anything, but deaf to the artist, we'll look past that for a second, to be like, you know, it was a pretty cool scene to actually see, like regardless of associations with Harry Potter or not. Like, it was actually just like a cool steam bridge, like steam train driving across a rather scenic bridge in the scenic landscape of Scotland. No battery, oh no. I will say though that the day we went out, it was so supremely rainy and muddy. I can't remember what shoes I was wearing. I think I was wearing my trainers, my outdoorsy trainers, mind you, which are not completely waterproof. So I guess, you know, that's something which I noted, is that my running trail shoes are not waterproof. They're waterproof like at the bottom, but they've got like this mesh at the top, I guess, for breathability or whatever, which does, if you step into a deeper puddle, it definitely lets water in. But to be fair, I think that happened to most of my friends, except for one of my friends who just like was wearing like combat boots and just like powered through over puddles, which is had a great video of him just like what's like a tank just sort of like driving through the muddy puddles while everyone else is like gingerly like walking around it or trying to find a way to not get like their shoes and socks wet. But it was a supremely rainy day. It was a really fun rainy day though, to be honest. We saw a lot of different sights. Like we saw that steam train bridge, which was in Harry Potter, I think. And then we went to like the welcome centre. That's where I bought my Loch Nessie. Where she's sitting over on the shelf. She's very fluffy. And there was like a 3D... No, there was like a diorama. I can't remember what diorama was for, to be perfectly honest. But then we went to a place called Neptune's Staircase, right? Which, I don't know what it's technically called. I was going to call it an aqueduct, but I don't know if that's right. Neptune's Staircase. Is a staircase lock. Okay. Lock as in L-O-C-K, not L-O-C-H, the Scottish word for lake. But yeah, it's basically like a canal stairway. That's probably how I would describe it. Like if you have like a really raised then like a stretch of water and a low stretch of water, and you want to get a boat from one to the other, you can go through like a staircase lock, canal locks, which basically is you go into like this one secluded area, and then like we bring down the water level such that it meets the next one. And then you drive your boat through, then they block off that area again, then basically do that in increments. This one's Neptune's Staircase, which had, how many? I don't know. I just closed it. Neptune's Staircase. Tourist attraction, of course. 8 locks. So it's quite a long one. It must take like hours getting through each one, because like to wait for water levels to rise and lower takes forever, I think. But it was nice, and despite the fact it was super rainy. We went in 2 separate cars, so like since the car I was in, we got there a little bit early. We just like had a sort of nice walk, and there was this really cute like craft shop off to the side, which we went into, and we bought some stuff. I bought a pair of like really cute cat earrings, which was one of the main motivations. I was like, if I buy this, I know I'm not going to waste my money with this. But if I don't buy it, I'm going to be like, oh yeah, then I'll never get my ears pierced because I don't have earrings. But if I do buy it, then I'm going to be like, got to get my money's worth. Let's actually go get my ears pierced someday. And spoiler alert, I have got my ears pierced on my birthday, no less. But yeah, I had these really cute like cats in hanging sort of basket earrings. I don't know what they're made out of, I'm going to be perfectly honest. I hope they're safe now I think about it and did not ask. But I guess the actual earrings themselves aren't in contact with the skin because they're like hanging ones. My friends bought, I don't remember what they bought. I think one bought like a really cool looking cup or something. Anyway, it was just a sort of like cute craft store to the side. It was very sort of aesthetic. And then we took a load of nice bridges on a lock. That's actually quite a nice picture of me. By the side, we got reunited with a friend. Oh yeah, this was actually a really cool thing. There was like this art installation outside, which I don't know how else to describe it, except for it was a big weird shaped block with a very reflective mirror surface. And then one of my friends, lined us all up, and we took a picture of all 5 of us, where we're all in different portions of the thing. I'm in the middle of a hearty laugh and misfit. I don't know what's going on. But like the person taking a photo, she's like in the immediate reflection, and then you can see me and another friend like immediately through, and another friend in one reflection sitting down in the thing, and then in the reflection of that you can see me and the other friend as well. I guess the question would be like, technically, I'm kind of being doubled up here on 2 different reflection things. Could I have stood somewhere else? Maybe I could have stood like, you can't see the model, but I could have stood here and I'd be reflected on that side maybe. I don't know. I think I'd have to sit down for it to be fully complete. I don't know. Anyway, it's a very creative photo to get everyone basically in the same thing, using this like reflection and not tricks of a light really. Kudos to my friend for taking that photo. And then what's this? And then we went to go grocery shopping to cook some food. One of our friends, I forgot the previous night one friend cooked a ragu. And then this night a friend cooked a curry. I can't remember what type of curry, mind you, but some sort of Indian curry. honestly, both are very good. Did I do much in way of helping out to cook? Not really. I think I cooked a bit of mince the first night, and the second night I think I helped like prepare some vegetables. But I didn't really contribute to the cooking process. I think I did more of a washing up, to be honest. That's kind of more my speed, to be honest. Not about prep work isn't for cooking. Surprisingly fast at cooking, prepping and chopping vegetables and stuff. I'm not crazy about cooking anything. Well, I think it's okay. It's not the worst thing in the world. I just didn't get much from food. Anyway, another point. Anyway, it was a super, super rainy day, to be perfectly honest. I had a nice hot chocolate. Something to warm you up. My socks were utterly, utterly soaked. I remember that by the time I got back. It's one of the worst feelings, I suppose. Stepping into a puddle and then you feeling, oh no, that rainwater is now seeped into my shoe and socks, and I can feel it. Definitely happened a few times in Scotland. Well, I think this day was more of a teaching lesson, being like, oh, these shoes are not as waterproof as I thought. Don't step in any puddles if you can help it. But sometimes it gets like super muddy. You like step down and the mud is super squelchy, and it's like, oh, couldn't help it. What was I going to do? But I remember my socks were like absolutely soaked. We luckily had a drying room. We had both an aga in the place we stayed. If you don't know, is basically, which I didn't actually know the name of it, but it's basically an oven, which is always on, is how I describe it. And an oven and stovetop, which is always on. And we had a drying room, which basically just had like a radiator and on. We could place to hang up our coats, put our shoes. I thought it was a mud room. It's not a mud room. It was actually called a drying room, officially referred to in the booklet, I think. I can't remember. Excuse me. So that was a fantastic place to actually dry off everything. Dried off my shoes and socks there. And it was very fortunate for me. I actually bought 3 shoes to this holiday. One, I bought like a pair of like rather inconvenient like knee-height boots, I suppose, which I wore on like casual walking days. And I bought those trail running shoes, or more walking days. And then I had this in-between sort of trainer for, well, things in between. And well, come to realise is trail running shoes are fantastic size. The trainers, I think, are a little bit small on my left foot, which is a bit of a shame. But I don't know if they were actually a little bit small, or if I just had like this bump on my toe to begin with, which made it feel weird. But nonetheless, they're actually supremely comfortable, very soft on the soles. But yeah, I mean, it was a super rainy, wet day. I think the entire day was full of like these like cute little like local sites that we saw, but just like defined by how insanely wet it was. I mean, you can see in like all these photos, like all our hair is like super wet or rainy. Everyone's got like a hood up, raincoats, etc, etc. Actually, my hair looks quite dry here, I guess, because I'm using an umbrella. I don't really know. I'm sure it gets more and more wet as the day goes on. But I don't think I did actually bring my raincoat that day. It's the strangest thing, is my coat, which I have, which I really like, does not have a hood on it for some reason. It looks like it's a raincoat with a hood. It's got like a thickness that it could definitely be one, but it's not. It's like just like a parka without a hood or something. It's not really a parka, but well, maybe it's a bit like a parka. Yeah, it's kind of like a parka without a hood, and I'm just like, oh, this coat would be so good if it had a hood, but it doesn't. So I bring an umbrella. And to be fair, I prefer using umbrellas over wearing a raincoat. But nonetheless. Yeah, I'm surprised at how dry my hair stayed, actually, throughout all of this. Shout out to this fantastic umbrella I had, if anything. But I just do remember shoes, socks, soaking. And it is definitely one of the worst feelings, stepping as I continue this thought, which I abandoned about 10 minutes ago, of stepping into like what you thought was mud or what you thought was a shallow puddle, and then feeling your foot start to get wet, feeling your socks slowly start to absorb up all the moisture, and be like, oh, this is just the start of a day. The rest of the day is going to be miserable with me with my wet socks walking around in my wet shoes. Like it's happened when I went to Croatia, not like most recent time, but the time before that. We went on this like really big walk, and one part we had to like walk through like a small stream or whatever, and my shoes were actually doing super well at like being water resistant. I stepped in really deep puddles, and then I was like, oh, my feet weren't getting wet at all. So when it came to it, I was just like, I'll just like walk through this stream or whatever. It's really funny. But some other like walkers and tourists there who were just like, oh yeah, we had to take off our shoes and socks, or you can go up a long way. And I was just like, I'm just gonna walk through. I heard him like trade off being like, oh, you could do that as I was walking through the stream. It makes me crack up when I think about it. But then I also had like the rest of a walk, which is like an hour, 2 hours or something, just with like wet shoes, wet socks, squelching the entire way. I remember every time we paused, I would like take off my shoes and socks just to, like, let them dry in the sun, which honestly they did actually dry off pretty quickly. But the thing is, when you're actually actively wearing them, they don't dry off all that quick, huh? They're sort of being smothered by your shoes and socks. It's keeping all that moisture in. Not necessarily a bad thing. Well, I mean, it actually is kind of a bad thing, because I suppose usually it would keep the moisture out. But it keeps it in once it soaks in. What can you do? Anyway, so the long short of it is wet socks, very annoying to walk around in. It reminds me of a geography trip I had once, where we basically had to wade through rivers, and no joke, the rivers went up to like my waist. And I'm a relatively tall person, which was definitely above the Wellingtons, and no one else in my group was willing to go into the river to try and like take measurements. I still remember that. Fun experience looking back. At the time, pretty miserable. My socks, everything, trousers, super wet. Atrocious. Anyway, walking around with like wet sock shoes, that's not something which anyone enjoys, to be perfectly honest, but it was still enjoyable on that day, especially because now I'm sitting here in the dry and I get to look at the photos and reminisce of times and not have to see all the good sights in my mind again without having to experience the wet socks and shoes. Anyway, on that note, I think I'm going to round this episode up here. So if you have been watching, thank you very much. It's been Animal Crossing New Horizons. Hi, my dear darling. Likes, comments, subscription, shares, greatly appreciated. Socials, Discord down below. Hope to see each other again, but for now, it's our farewell. So until next time, bye-bye for now.